So user acquisition is getting more and more difficult, and you always need it, but in the future even more so. We'll have to be more creative on how to market your app, and therefore you might maybe also take more unusual ways into consideration, as our next speaker, Funda, did for her company, InnoGames. Funda is working now since 16 years in the industry and is currently the Director of Media and Marketing Development at InnoGames, among the game industry's top 5 ad spenders in the US and in Germany. And she is also responsible there for all the partnerships and the global expansion. Now in her keynote, she's going to talk about how InnoGames is leveraging cross-channel marketing and its approach to pre-installs. Please help me in welcoming to the stage Funda Yakin.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you. So, thanks for having me here, and thanks to Michael. You know a lot more now about gaming, so perfect preparation for my presentation now. And for those who never heard about InnoGames, I brought some facts that show you who we are. So we are Germany's #1 game developer in revenue. So, and also since last year, we are the biggest developer in Germany based on our employee numbers. And now we have over 200 million registered players with our games. So the story of InnoGames is a constant growth the last 10 years, now in the 11th year, so we're still growing based on very smart marketing and our successful games, of course. And show you some of our hits, so I'm skipping a bit faster. You may heard of these games, so these are multiple $100 million lifetime revenue hits we have in our house. So I think the main thing to know about our business model is that we have a free-to-play games, which we are monetized with in-game currency. So we are having our games on browser and mobile, so all of these games are on both platforms available, and we are very focused in strategy and simulation games. So who knows Forge of Empires? Just give a sign. Ah, yeah. Thanks. Good marketing, right? So, and just to give you more insights about how we do marketing, and as you also heard from Michael, user acquisition is the main thing we have. And I brought you some numbers around our ad spend. So last year we had around 50-50 on desktop and mobile, but this year is the first time that we have higher mobile share on spend than on desktop. So we're also focusing more and more into mobile games. So our next releases will be mobile only. But nevertheless, it's also very important that all the people go from desktop gaming into mobile gaming. So we have 5 pillars in marketing, and all of these pillars are responsible for user acquisition. So we do not have any brand marketing, and it's all about getting new users, for very important sustainable users who are engaged many, many years in our games and monetize through this way. So as we started in 2012 with Forge of Empires mobile user acquisition, we found a blue ocean. So we were one of the few advertisers in gaming section, and had a lot of playground, and Michael also said, hey, video ads and this and that and everything tested and could monetize for really small CPLs and great values. But since then, the industry changed. So one of our focus markets is the US. Why is it? Funny, it's the other way around, right? So interesting. So it increased almost 300%. And also according to this, also the ad spend was dramatically increasing. So, and if you look at the mobile side, it's around now 70% of the whole ad spend goes into the mobile advertising. Yes, which made us then from a nice relaxed blue ocean of marketing turn into a really mean red ocean with some really bad, these are dolphins, so don't be scared, so no problem. But this made us at InnoGames think about, hey, what can we do next? So the competition is really fierce, and are there any other channels, maybe how to get to our new users and sustainable users, more importantly. And this made us to look at our today's topic, the pre-installs, how we can take this shortcut directly to the mobile devices of the people and bring the games directly into their hands. And I will show you our case study. And first of all, to explain, there are two types of pre-install possibilities. So you get there with vendors like Digital Turbine, or also directly through the vendors. And one type is preloaded, so you get the app icon preloaded onto this phone, fresh out of the factory coming smartphones. And it's during the setup, the user can tick on it, and then it gets installed from the App Store. So, and the second one is the pre-installed, where the user has the possibility to check in manually if he wants the app or not. And then it gets installed on the phone. So I brought you the showcase of Verizon US, and which we have done in the beginning of this year. So the app was preloaded, and we had a home screen placement, as you can see it here. And very important part of this is also the targeting. So you are able to target, to say, hey, I want this gender, this age, and this device type. And more importantly, nowadays, it's guaranteed fraud-free installs. So I also brought you some real numbers. We can crunch some numbers here. And we compared, in the time frame of 3 months, the US market, Android platform of a network advertising campaign versus our pre-installs here. And as you can see, we have a lot of ad impressions here and versus the pre-installation. So the click-through rate is better, the click-to-install rate is better, the install-to-registration rate is worse, sure, because if you once decide to click on a banner and download the game, so you register because you want to. And on the other side, we have at the end, if you look at it, also slightly comparable CPI. So this is also the difference of 4 cents. So we say, let's say it's comparable on the same level. But more importantly in gaming, so we look also at the gamer itself and the values in-game we have. So the next number crunching slide is about the in-game behavior we have. So we have now our user numbers, and we see that we have a retention after day 7 and day 30, better numbers here. And the direct-to-pay is also higher, which means registered users who pay is the direct-to-pay rate. And what we are also looking at is the most important in gaming, the lifetime value. So, which is really higher than the network acquisition gamer. And at the end, we have a ROA of 144%, which is a perfect number. So, so this is the first time we share real numbers on a keynote and a conference. So, and these numbers are confidential. So after my speech, I will collect all of your smartphones and delete these numbers, okay? And so, or we can meet at our lunch. And so the comparison also on this page maybe to show the conversion rates, because we tested many providers and carriers here, and you see that we have slightly better conversion rates on the pre-installed, but we have more options on the preloaded section, so which is also maybe good to know. And it might be different for other gamer or app providers. So these are our key takeaways. To sum it up, And have a small conclusion here. We have similar marketing costs compared to advertising, and but we have increased user and higher values. So engagement rates are better, values are better, which is really important in our game section. And on the other side, it's not a win only for the app provider, it's also a good tool for the carrier or the manufacturer, because you deliver them content. What does a carrier want to sell? They want to sell data tariffs. So if you use your app, you use the data, so which is a really good tool. Also, the manufacturer, when a new Galaxy is coming up, they want to showcase the graphics, and if you have a really nice game, you can do that. So this is a welcome cooperation also from their side. And no fraud yet. I don't know if there's some really smart hackers maybe one day coming in and fraud it, I don't know. But until this moment, there is no fraud. But there's also downside, so it's not everything positive, so everyone could do that. So the downside is there's very limited inventory. So that means if you imagine a phone, there are only 3 or 4 apps, space for apps, and which the carriers provide. So we are also all competitors. That's not only about gaming, it's also shopping apps or Runtastic, for example. These are all competitors of this limited space. So therefore is the scaling of this campaign very limited. And you need also to plan having long lead times and negotiations, because most of these carriers and manufacturers don't know about that yet, maybe, so because that's not their usual day-to-day business. So you need really resilience and good business development or key account teams who are really, resilient and going day after day and meet them and negotiate nice pricings behind also. And another thing is also the technical setup differs from carrier to carrier and manufacturer. So everyone needs a different format, and which makes it a bit difficult then to deliver, and needs also more resources and time. And last but not least, at the moment, it's only possible with Android, because Apple is not allowing third-party apps on its devices. But at the end, so it worked well for us, so we are also continuing our campaigns on Preinstalls, and as said, this was a secret. Now it's the worst kept secret for InnoGames now, and now we are competitors from this time. And yeah, if you have questions, then please reach out, and otherwise, thank you for listening. Oh, we are
perfect on time.
Yes, we're ahead of our time.
Yeah, we're ahead of our time.
Yeah.
A bit. We have 2 questions. First hand was raised here. So we have time for questions.
In addition, do you use the fact that you know it's a pre-install to message those users differently in any way?
No. So because we don't have the possibility, you have only the icon, which is installed, and you don't have any other options to message them on that way. But the good thing is, it's already there, so they're not looking for something. No, also not. No, they just come into the game and play and get obviously addicted to the game, which is really good. So, and there is no extra effort on this.
Since you said there's very limited spots and it's pretty competitive, and you also cannot add a message, just the icon, do you think the predominant apps here are going to be those ones with already brand awareness? So just Facebook or your top games, could this pre-install model work also for smaller apps that are not well known?
Yes, of course. So, but it's also, the work has to be done up front. So if you have an app which is not known or not attractive enough, so the carrier might say, hey, I don't want your app because no one knows, or it's not attractive, or maybe not a plus for my consumer at the end. that could happen, of course. But if you have an app which is not known yet, but it's really cool, it's a plus, it's maybe a benefit for the Galaxy users, then yes, it can happen. So, and another maybe there is also a way to promote the app, but it's an extra effort. So what we also have done in the past, that you can also put something into the sales box to say, hey, play now Forge of Empires, or also you can also offer a starter package. Say, hey, get now €5 of in-game currency if you now start your app. Yes, you could do that, but that costs an extra effort so far, so for more activation.
We have another question over here.
A few talks before, Moshi said he found that the pre-installs actually cannibalized their organic installs.
True.
What's your take on that?
Yes, it does, because every advertising cannibalizes your organics. So also, he said also search is doing that. So, but we won't stop searching, you know. And on the other side, we acquired this case only on new users. So, and I think yes, it does, but just to some extent. And you also wouldn't stop other advertising channels, because they're also cannibalizing organics at the end. So I think we are really happy with our case, and it works. And yes, and that's my take out on that. Thanks. I've seen that too, yes. I was like, huh, what is he saying there?
That would be a nice discussion on stage.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Funda.
Thank you, Ole.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah.